It's difficult to flip through the channels these days without stumbling across a show on which Steve Harvey is either hosting or appearing. Fans of all ages and from all over the world have grown to know and adore the famed comedian and talk show host, and he is widely regarded as one of the hardest working men in the entertainment industry. Harvey's achievement is only equaled by his riches, and he currently has a net worth of $200 million. He's living in luxury these days, and he could easily live off his current pay for the rest of his life. However, the once homeless star's life was not always simple. He came from a difficult background, which has shaped him into the guy he is now. His true life rags to riches narrative will astound you. Steve Harvey went from being homeless to becoming a multimillionaire, and he has worked really hard to get to this point in his life. He was born in West Virginia to a moderate household. His father was a coal miner who worked long and hard hours to support for his family. The Harveys relocated to Cleveland, where Steve Harvey finished high school. Steve used to do whatever he could to make ends meet. He worked as a mechanic, an insurance salesman, a mail carrier, and a carpet cleaner, and he wasn't hesitant to take any job that paid well. He formerly pursued a boxing career and earned money in the ring. Unable to establish a stable career path, Harvey's intermittent jobs were insufficient to support him, and he ended up living in his car. It was 1980, and he was driving a 1976 Ford Tempo that would soon become his home. Harvey continued to take up any job that came his way, demonstrating his perseverance and pure resolve to better his life. To stay healthy, he kept a cooler in the back of his car, which he stocked with whatever food he could find, and showered at swimming pools and petrol stations. Understandably, he referred to this period of his life as rock bottom, and tragically, it took him 3 years to get past it. He was looking for work as a comedian at the time, and certain gigs would put him up in a hotel as part of the deal. Those were few and far between, but they were very welcome occasions for him to rest in a more secure environment. Steve Harvey's future appeared gloomy, and success appeared to be a distant shot, yet he never gave up trying. He accepted any work he could get, and attempted to keep his mental health in check during his worst periods. That was a terrible moment, really incredibly traumatic. He recalls of his days as a homeless person. Everyone has a time when they turn back, when they think to themselves, "This is too much." I had it on a number of occasions, Steve said. Steve Harvey leans largely on his faith to survive during his most trying times. He honestly believed that if he stayed positive and tried to go forward in any manner he could, he would gain traction. I sat down and started crying, but a voice said, "If you keep going, I'm going to take you someplace you've never been." It was like God whispered, "Don't quit, you're nearly there." Harvey recounted of one of his most difficult experiences. Harvey attributes his success to his faith in God. Steve Harvey performed his first stand-up comedy gig on stage in 1985. It didn't pay well, at times bringing home only $50 a day, but he paid and he enjoyed it. It was difficult for him to achieve consistency as a comedian, but he quickly won a role as the host of a television show, It's Showtime at the Apollo, followed by a high-profile spot on Cedric the Entertainer and Benny Mac's King of Comedy tour. Steve Harvey's star continued to soar, and his name is now associated with a number of successful and well-known television shows. His most noteworthy roles include hosting the hit family game program Family Feud, Celebrity Family Feud, and The Steve Harvey Show. He has also anchored Little Big Shots and the Miss Universe contest for a long time. His perseverance and tenacity has undoubtedly paid off, Steve Harvey is literally everywhere. He has increased his income by taking a number of shows and initiatives. He's even written a book, Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man, which has been translated into a film. His book was on the New York Times bestsellers list for a record-breaking 64 weeks. He was correct in his assessment. Steve Harvey can do anything if he puts his mind to it. Harvey's rise through the ranks of the entertainment world has resulted in an astonishing $200 million net worth. He has now officially attained a whole new level of fame and prosperity, and he can easily enjoy the money he has already earned for the rest of his life without having to make any kind of lifestyle compromises. Steve Harvey, as one of the most famous names and faces in the entertainment industry, receives top pay for any job he undertakes. He has a tremendous fan base that backs every endeavor he undertakes, and it carries a lot of influence and power, which any television network or major business would find incredibly appealing. Harvey presently earns $10 million per season as the host of Family Feud and an additional $20 million per year as a radio broadcaster. He is widely regarded as one of the hardest working men in the entertainment industry, and he has also launched his own dating site called Delightful, as well as published additional books titled Straight Talk, No Chaser, Act Like a Success, and Jump, Take the Leap of Faith to Achieve Your Life of Abundance. Harvey has said of his incredible financial success, in contrast to the severe poverty he formerly suffered. It saddens me when I hear highly successful people say, "I always knew I'd get here, but I didn't. I always dreamed I'd get someplace, but this is extraordinary. My imagination didn't even stretch this far." His life is now affluent. He eats whatever he wants and splurges on his designer clothing, his love of costly cigars, and of course, he lives in a $15 million mansion with his family. Harvey, who is truly humble to the core, keeps a modest attitude on his great fortune. "I'm fleeing homelessness. I'll never be in that situation again. If my show is cancelled, I have 3 more lined up. I don't have any spare time, although I work 12 hours a day," said Steve Harvey. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below.